Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to the Move United Fall 2020 competition meeting. Today's session is focused on powerlifting. My name is Jessie Cloy, and I'm a manager with Move United's competition department. If you are catching up and you missed today's session or any of the sessions that we've done so far or have scheduled for this week, know that they will be going online on the Move United website. And at the conclusion of all the sessions, we will send out a link for easy access. Before I turn it over to our presenters today, Pam Carey and Paul Coulter-John and Miss Mary Hodge, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. To minimize distractions, we ask that all attendees mute your mic. Please use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen to submit questions. We will reserve some time at the end to address all questions. And please feel free to use the chat feature to say hello or introduce yourself. And we have one more session scheduled for today on archery, so we will have a hard stop at 45 minutes. So if this conversation gets too rowdy, we will just write down all of the outstanding questions and comments, and we will continue the conversation at another time. All right, I'm going to hand it on over to Paul and Pam.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Pam Carey. I am a part of the Para Powerlifting Competition Committee. Paul Coulter-John is the other person, and he will be on in just a little bit. And we also have on Mary Hodge, who is the U.S. Para Powerlifting. Well, let me see.
Performance manager.
The what, Mary?
High performance manager, ma'am.
High performance manager. I always want to say coach, but she's a high performance manager.
That's good too.
So as we move on to the next slide, I wanted to just go over the agenda that we'll be doing a little bit. We'll talk about some of the new rules, the updates on the rules. We will review, Paul will do a review of the competition quick tips document. Discuss some eligibility for doing powerlifting, qualifying standards for junior nationals, records and results, general resources, and give you some information on who to contact for Move United and the competition committee contacts. Next. Here are the key rule changes for the 2021 session. Juniors can now request a press command to be given by either the head referee or their coach. And we have made reference to the rules, and these are the rules for Move America Para Powerlifting rules. Secondly, the weight of the bar that must be lifted for a qualifying lift is 20 kilogram or an equivalent of 45 pounds. Thirdly, detailed requirements for the different sanctioning levels of competition have been included also. And Paul is going to go over this in just a minute. And lastly, at the Junior Nationals, the Para Powerlifting Press is now the only lifting event that we do in competition. So now I'd like to turn the next part over to Paul Coulter-John, who'll tell us a little bit about himself, and he will go over the Para Powerlifting competition quick tips.
Hello, everyone. Let's start out with the sanctioning. Sanctioning is done by Move United as it was being done before through Adaptive Sports. You can get additional sanctioning for higher level meets through USA Para Powerlifting, and Mary would work with you on that if we found a meet that we wanted to have certified. Level 1, like most of the other sports right now, is non-qualifying educational learning meet. Level 2, more serious competition. And level 3 is the top level competition Move United will be running. And it would be the only place where records can be set. Your requirements, we tried to keep it simple on level 1 that you don't even have to have an approved bench, although it would be helpful. You should have a warm-up bench. You need to have pounds or kilogram weights and a scale. But when you get up to level 2, we want a USAPP approved bench. You should have a warm-up bench. Again, the same weights and scale. And it'd be best if you were timing with a stopwatch or had some kind of visual display. For level 3, we take it to the next level. And again, you must have a USAPP approved bench. Right now, Eagle and Alico have those benches. If the numbers are appropriate, you should have 2 warm-up benches. Your competition must be using kilogram weights. You must have a kilogram scale to be able to weigh your athletes. And again, visual and stopwatch to make sure the time is done, and you must have an Alico bar. Rules are again going to be published on the Move United site. The changes that Pam mentioned have been included. We've very recently updated it to include Move United's name and everything, and they will be published on the new website in the first of the year. When you have a competition, they're generally held in a gymnasium or at your host hotel in a conference room or something. For a larger competition, we recommend 2,500 square feet of space. You will also then need about 1,000 square feet to have a warm-up bench or 2 and a small private room. And I emphasize room versus section to do the weigh-ins that should be near the competition area. When you do a weigh-in, the athlete, if needed to get down to a weight they're trying to reach, may remove clothing. And in that case, we really want it to be a private room. The equipment beyond the bar and the weights, you need to identify a platform surface that could be a marking on the floor, or it actually could be a wood platform or a stage. And it gives you some dimensions here. And again, if you're doing a stage, obviously there's a height limitation, and you need to have appropriate ramping so that everyone can get up and down easily. You probably want to have 2 ramps so you don't block it up. Again, we talked about the bars, need locking collars to be safe, and about 440 pounds or 185 kilograms of weight. And if you really know you've got somebody really going to be lifting, like we had a couple of years ago at Junior Nationals, you're going to need some more than that. And that's just for one bench. You're going to need to double that if you have a warm-up bench, or close to double it, so that you have enough weights for all your lifters to warm up. Okay, next screen. Okay, also, Mary mentioned it in the chat, there is an overlay you can put onto a standard bench to turn it into a para bench that will work for your warm-ups. However, we really would rather you not be using that even for a level 2 competition. We'd really want an approved bench for your competition bench level 2 or 3. Lighting trees so the officials can signal their results. It is also acceptable at the lower levels to use paddles, flags, because we know the wiring and everything can get expensive. The wheelchair accessible scale, again, lower competitions can be pounds, but for level 3 must be able to weigh in kilos. You also want to have a chalk stand. We'd also like computer projector and a screen, so we can put up all the results right on the screen, everybody be able to see during the competition where everybody is. We're open to classes for impaired muscle, limb deficiencies and leg length differences, short stature, hypertonia, ataxia, and acidosis. We do not have lifting included for the visually impaired or intellectual, and that's a little bit different than all the other competitions going on within adaptive sports and Move United. If you are an amputee, we will take your weight, since all the competition is based on weight. your body weight, and that's how we classify you. We would be taking your weight and making an adjustment for your limb deficiency based on a world powerlifting tables. And that would come up with what your adjusted weight is. And then we would use that to determine the weight class you're in. So there is some adjustments done if you are an amputee. Here is the full list of the weight classes. Again, we have made adaptations for our junior athletes. And you can see here, especially on the male side, there have been added 2 classes that are lower weight classes for our juniors. So they're not jumping right in at 49K with everybody. So all your athletes would fall into one of these classes, and then their competition would be based on weight class, not age, or it would be tied to their age, but they're not going to go against everybody in their age, only their age and the weight class. Okay. And for officials, we asked that we get a list of your officials, especially level 2s, level 3s. The Movie United Competition Committee wants to be able to review your officials to know that they are capable of running a safe competition. Lastly, our age divisions are not like all the other competition groups where you have all the junior age classes going up. Our competition really only begins for kids that are 14 years old on the day of their birthday. So we basically have 2 groups in the junior side. Our juniors that we consider U20s, they're all the age 14 to 19 kids. And then our adults are U23s that are ages 20 to 22. And we award our medals based on those 2 age groups. And if it's a larger competition, then we have an open class, like in Chicago as an example, where we have adults coming in to lift also. And now I'll kick it back to Pam.
At this point, does anybody have any questions about the quick tips? And if you do have a question, you can just put them in the chat room. And I do know that at this point also, Mary had put some information on there about an overlay. Mary, would you like to discuss a few of those quick tips that we just went over?
Sure. In relation to the overlay, we realize at the senior or open division that the equipment is just excessively expensive. The Eagle benches run $2,500 to $3,000, which is sometimes cost prohibitive. And so Logan University, which is the home of powerlifting for the United States, is developing benches for $400. Thanks, Chuck, not $4,000. And figuring with shipping, that would be about $500. Basically, the top of the bench simulates a para bench, and you will strap it to an able-bodied bench. So it is very safe and secure, as Paul said, and echoing him. For level 2, it would be great for warm-up, but you would then need to get the Eagle, the Alico, and we are working with World Powerlifting on a 3rd manufacturer from Canada that hopefully will be a little less expensive. So hopefully that will assist all of you. There are bench straps at $15 a set that are available that I can get anyone a link if you want. It is very recommended that you buy the bench straps because it just assists your athlete tremendously. Other than that, everything Paul said was tremendous. Glad to see the 2 extra body weights added for the fellas. I think that's really a great idea.
Thank you, Mary. So we'll talk a little bit about eligibility. The competitors must have an eligible physical disability. And back on the quick tips, notice when they were talking about classification, para powerlifting is not classed like any other of the disabled sports. They based on having an impaired muscle power or range of motion. Also, the impairment could be a limb deficiency or a leg length difference. It could be a person with short stature, or it could be a person that has hypertonia, ataxia, or athetosis. So those are some of the eligible physical disabilities. And in order to participate in any of the Move United competitions, they must have an eligible physical disability. Another part of this is that competition is an open event, and it's only based on two things: the gender, are you male or female, and body weight, which was that list also was on the quick tips. Junior competitors can become eligible to compete on the day of their 14th birthday for both regional and national events. This is not so for international. And it's also a little different from our other aged divisions, whereas most of them have to be 14 by December 31st. And so para powerlifting is a little bit different in that the age is the day of their birthday. Next slide, please. The qualifying standards for junior nationals. So the national qualifying standards for juniors and those that are under 23 male and female competitors is to have a successful lift of a 20K bar or an equivalent. They could use a 45-pound bar at any Move United sanctioned level 2 or 3 competition. Or, I know those are far and few between, if another competitor wanted to qualify for junior nationals, they could compete at any competition that is sanctioned by USA Para Powerlifting or another disability sport organization, or even an able-bodied federation. But if they do it this way, we have to have proof of performance. We have to have a proof of performance letter, and it must be included from the meet organizer. Any questions? All right, next. All records that are currently recorded by Adapted Sports USA will be carried over to the Move United. The current records will be published on the new Move United website. Juniors may only set national records at a Move United Level 3 sanctioned competition that uses kilo weights, and that they should also apply for this in the same way that adults do. The head officials are also to be approved by Move United Competition Committee, the para powerlifting representatives. Next. All right. Here are some general resources, and I feel sure that you'll be able to access this PowerPoint. If not, take a moment now to screen print this page. And these are your major resources: the USA Power Powerlifting website. And again, as Mary said, that is now at the home of Logan University. Is that in St. Louis or St. Peters, Mary? Where's that? St. Louis? Okay.
Yes.
And you also will be able to access the resources, our Move United Para Powerlifting rules and regulations. And note that this URL, this is sending you to the URL of Adapted Sports USA, but that will change once the Adapted Sports USA site merges with the Move United site. And then finally, if you want international rules, the World Para Powerlifting rules and regulations are found on that website. Next. Our Move United contacts are Susan Rossi. She is the Director of Competition for Move United. Jessica Cloy. She's the Competition Manager of Operations for Move United. And Shelly Fazzini, who's the Competition Manager Administration. And I want to stop right now and tell you what a fantastic job those three ladies have been doing and are doing, and getting us ready as people from Adapted Sports USA go in and join with Move United. So thank you all so much for all you do, especially all these PowerPoints and trainings that you put on during this conference. We really appreciate it. Next slide, please. The para powerlifting contacts are myself, Pam Carey, and this is my website, this is my email address and my cell phone. So call me if you have any questions. I may not have the answers, but I can sure find it for you. And contact Paul Coulterjohn And there's his information, and Mary Hodge has included her information. So we thank them also. Thank Mary and Paul so much for everything they've done for us also. Anything else? Next. Any questions? Go ahead.
Megan asked a question about clothing. I'm not sure, Pam, if you had a chance to look at the chat. I have an answer from my perspective, but thought perhaps that you and Paul better to answer the question in relation to Move United, and then I can back into what we do on the powerlifting. So she asked a question: are there any specific clothing requirements required to wear?
I had gone back to the group, just put that there's a full description of all the clothing requirements in the rule book, our rule book. But in general, a singlet is not required. It could be a tight fitting shirt and pants, just not loose fitting. A games
Do you allow
t-shirt.
lifting shirts? Do you allow bench shirts? Do you allow benching shirts? So ply, 2-ply, or 3-ply shirts?
No.
Okay.
They will not. They're not compliant. It's got to be single ply type material, nothing elastic. That's all in the rule book.
Right.
That nothing that's going to give them any additional advantage or support.
Awesome.
So when I say tight fitting, I just mean close to the body so that we can see that you're not lifting, especially the pants, to see that you're not, and shirt that you're not arching your back or things like that. And Mary's laughing, but it's true.
Yep.
It's all the things that the senior lifters have learned to try to get away with. But the good lifters know it's for their advantage.
Right.
But and games t-shirts are always acceptable for us, as long as they are, close to the body. And if you have to tape around a little bit to get it, little knots on the side so that we can see, then that's what has to be done.
Great.
But
Thanks.
there's a really detailed list of material comments and everything else in the rule book.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you.
Are there any more questions? All right, I know we're a little early, but if anybody would like to discuss or has any other questions, you can feel free to contact me or Paul or Mary at this time and let us know.
Since we have a couple of extra minutes, and I know everyone probably would like to get off, so don't be mad at me for doing this, but for those that we don't know on this, those who aren't presenting, if you guys want to just go on mute and on video for a second and tell us who you are and where you're from, and if you're going to be running an event this year, that might be helpful for the guys on the call.
I can go first. So I'm Megan. I'm with DASA, which is in St. Louis area. We hold our annual Gateway Games in mid-May, and we're hoping to have them. So we'll see how things play out. I doubt we'll do virtual if that's the case. So just keeping our fingers crossed that we're able to hold it this year.
Going to try to do a level 2 meet?
Yeah,
I know originally you were level 1 before.
Yeah, I think we can probably. I mean, we've got the bench and we've got the weights and everything. So yeah, we'll probably go for the level 2.
Super. Great.
I'm Trish Urachko from New Jersey. I'm representing the Tri-State Regional Association. We will be holding, hopefully, just as Mike said, hopefully our games will be a Memorial Day weekend. We're looking at doing a level 2 segment of powerlifting in that event, and that would be held on Friday night. Our meet is a Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. But again, I'm not the meet director. I just sit on the committee, but wanted to make sure that it got out there. Sorry for the background noise. They just started, the neighbors just started doing their lawn.
I just wanted to throw out also, if anyone, and Pam is aware of this, and hopefully Paul, wants myself or someone from USAPP to come out and do a level 1 training. We're happy to try and get to your events and help you out. in any way you can to make them successful. So just wanted to throw that out there.
How about Chuck? Let's talk to Chuck.
Hey guys, sorry. Chuck French down in Houston, Houston Parks and Recreation Department. Work closely with Memorial Hermantier and City of Pasadena also. You know, right now we have canceled our Metal and Muscle Expo. That's kind of our big event, annual event, where we had hoped to grow a powerlifting portion. Other than that, we're just sitting in a holding pattern, waiting on hospitalizations and positivity to go down before our mayor will let us do anything. So just hanging out right now.
I can quickly, I can just quickly add that we're definitely in a holding position. Our numbers are large, both in Illinois and Wisconsin. So have reached out to the facilities already, and we would like to do something. We're just in a holding position until we won't know anything until January. So, and that would be, Paul and Trish, help me out here. That would be a level 2, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just double checking.
I'm not sure if it
You're
helped.
probably the only group that. You're probably the only group in Chicago that might have a shot at a level 3 right now, since you use the adaptive sports equipment. So you have almost everything to do a level 3 if we, you know, were to push it that way.
Paul, just really quick, what don't we have for a level 3?
You've got the weights. I don't remember if the scale was this
It's good.
kilo scale.
It is.
If it is, then you've got, that's why I say you virtually have everything that you need, because you use exactly what we run nationals with.
Okay.
So it could be level 3. Jim never looked at it that way when we had talked last year. You know, we'd have to really watch more than we do now. Would have had to watch time. I think that would be the biggest thing.
Okay, thank you.
I was just going to say, we ran a qualifier this weekend in Virginia for our national team. And I understand, as we all do, what's going on in the country and the craziness of running a sport. Powerlifting, I believe, is a little easier to run. It was complicated, don't get me wrong, because of COVID protocols, but it was much easier than many of the other sports in the sense of because it's a one-on-one sport. If you have the right amount of spotters and loaders that are only touching their side of the bar and bench, and obviously sanitizers or wipes, which we are all just second nature now, you really can do it well. I think we did really well. Of course, we had temperatures and all the stuff that everybody else does. But I think as an individual sport, it was a little bit easier than some of the team sports and other things. So happy to pass any of that on or connect you with our regional hub that ran the event if you want.
Mary, are those events all up on the Logan website? Because I never got anything on that event and was upset when you mentioned it last week. I was upset because I would have driven down.
I'm sorry. Yes, it was actually slotted for New York. And about 2 months ago, I made the decision, or 3 months ago, because New York obviously was a hotbed when COVID first came to our doorstep in March. And so we made the decision to switch it over to Virginia. So for a bit, our website was showing New York, but it's been switched for about 2 months, I think. Not positive if it's still on Disabled Powerlifting. I think it is. So those are the 2 websites we function in. Logan.edu USAPP / and then Disabled Powerlifting. We do not have anything slotted from here on out. So we're waiting on our National Federation to let us know what the status is so I can back into where we need to be.
Great. So anybody have any other questions Kevin didn't introduce himself, but Kevin has been fantastic today, and I don't want to speak for him. I'll let him talk, but he's been listening in on all of our sports sessions because he's helping to develop our new meet management program. So if there's anything that you guys think can be related, sorry that my child is screaming in the background, anything that can go into the new program, and Kevin, if you want to say a couple words, that'd be great.
Sure. Thanks, Jesse. Hi, I'm Kevin Kreitzer. I'm mainly involved with the meet management setup and the competition results, capturing it and displaying the information, the results at the end of the competition. And like Jesse said, I'm mainly on to pick up any information if anything changed, because we're developing a new system to replace SAMS. And I want to make sure, you know, we include it right from the start of the application, the new application. That's everything. Thanks, Jess.
Great.
So is the game plan for powerlifting going to be included, and will it do basically what SAMS is doing now, Kevin?
Yes, it will do everything that SAMS does currently. That's the goal, to start off with, you know, SAMS as being the minimum of everything. And then if something we know about is available or is being done, we'll change it and have it available. But, you know, the new meet management's going to mainly start off with naturally track and field and swimming, you know, the three biggest areas. That's going to be the goal, to try to have something available for hopefully in 2021 Junior Nationals. We'll be able to have two systems going at the same time. One for one SAMS, one for the new competition management system. So hopefully things get better, because we're running a little bit behind, because with the new system, you know, the programmers are stuck at home. So things are behind schedule. They can't even log into their servers. So we're kind of stuck at this point. So hopefully things start improving shortly.
Thank you, Kevin. I have a question for Chuck. Chuck, do you have a separate event in the Houston area for powerlifting, or is it a multi-sport?
You know, and I apologize earlier. I didn't mention the Texas Regional Games with Wendy Gumbert and San Antonio, but that'll be the weekend of April 15th. And as of now, that's still on, which is a multi-sport event. But our expo is a multi-sport event. You know, no reason why we can't do a standalone. I think we have all the equipment now that I purchased the correct weight units and added to that, but from our last fiasco. Sorry, Mary. But,
and would you do that? Would you do that in the Houston area? If you did a standalone?
At our recreation center, yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Does anybody have anything else to add? Well, I apologize for being so short, but you know, we didn't have all the people on there that we wanted, but I do want to encourage everybody to spread the word of that it's not really that difficult to include para-powerlifting in your regional event. And if you just need, you know, go through the rule book, look at the quick tips, and if you have any questions, contact Susan and anybody else with the Move United, with Jesse or Shelly. Contact them about how to get that started for your multi-sport event. Jesse, I'll turn this back over to you.
Okay, well, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And thank you to Pam and Paul and Mary for leading this session. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.